How does income inequality affect people psychologically? Imagine living in a world where some people have more money than they could ever spend, while others struggle just to get by. That's what income inequality looks like. It's a big gap between the rich and the poor that can change how people feel inside. When income is uneven, it can make people feel stressed, anxious, and even sad. This happens because we tend to compare ourselves to others. If someone sees their neighbor driving a fancy car or living in a big house, they might feel like they are falling behind. This feeling of being lower in social status can make us unhappy and worried about our future. People often judge their worth based on how much money they have or how they compare to wealthier friends. When inequality feels unfair or permanent, it can make people feel trapped in their current situation. This can lead to a lot of negative emotions, like frustration or hopelessness. It's like a constant pressure to keep up or feel left out. This social comparison creates what's called status anxiety. People worry about being judged or judged poorly by others, which triggers stress responses in the brain. Over time, this can lead to mental health issues like depression and anxiety. The effects aren't just inside our heads. When people feel anxious or stressed about money and status, they might turn to unhealthy habits. Some might use alcohol or drugs to cope, while others might shop excessively to feel better temporarily. Children and vulnerable groups are especially affected because their early experiences shape how they see themselves and the world. If they grow up in unequal environments, it can influence their mental health for years to come. Now, when inflation rises, it makes these problems worse. Inflation means prices go up, and that hits lower-income families hardest because they spend most of their money on essentials like food and rent. When costs increase, these families feel more insecure about their finances. This deepens feelings of social comparison and status worries. People might feel even more anxious about falling behind or losing what little they have. So, inflation doesn't just affect the economy. It also makes the psychological toll of income inequality even stronger. In short, income inequality affects how people see themselves and their worth. It creates feelings of social threat and status anxiety, which can lead to stress, depression, and unhealthy behaviors. When inflation adds to the financial pressures, these feelings become even more intense. This shows how closely our mental health is tied to economic conditions and social fairness.